Can't believe we're doing this again, honestly. So, come on then. What are you waiting for, honestly? Why does this do this to me? Why do you do this to me? Sakes. Are you working? Come on. I know you want to work. Yay, there we go. I think that is working. And I've just done that like an absolute pillock. Are we going? Yes, we are working. I believe so. Right. Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Virtual Racers Club. And yes, I'm back for another race. 2 in 1 day. Oh, you people are lucky devils, aren't you? Or unlucky, really, because you have to hear me. Take your pick. Pick your poison. Anyway, so yes, we are back, and we are in round 2 of the Renault Megane Trophy. So what is the Renault Megane Trophy? Well, Renault Megane Trophy, or the RMT for short, is a one-make championship using the excellent Renault Megane Trophy Group 4 exclusively. Drivers battle hard, going wheel to wheel in 2 30-minute feature races for 10 weeks. Drivers will need to use a mandatory racing medium compound at some point over the 2 races, so will need to be selected carefully to race to use the slowing tyre. So a little bit of strategy is at play here. So we had round 1 at Trial Mountain, which that was quite a good one, quite blissfully, and we're here at Road Atlanta. I must admit, I quite like this track, personally. I'm not sure how anybody else stands with it, but there we go. So after the table, after round 1, is a tie for first place between Guesty and Bunny, both with 32 points. So this championship's already heating up already. In third place, we have Bazza, who's on 28 points. He's having a good run recently. Wonder where all this talent has come from, but we won't complain. If he's going to take it to the aliens, I say go with him. And speaking of aliens, we have Homesick Alien in 4th with 27 points. So not really much in it in this championship already, but it's still early days, so who goes to show? In 5th is Racer Brown on 24 points. So there's 8 points between him and the top runners, so any points gathering here today is definitely going to be beneficial. In 6th, we have Perchon, who's on 20 points. In fact, he's tied with Ensign Hewitt in 7th on 20 points. So, a little fight going on there between Perchon and Ensign Hewitt. So, that's going to be quite interesting to see how that pans out. In 8th, we have Mrs. Guesty on 19 points. There's only 1 point behind Perchon and Ensign Hewitt, so she's one that we're going to have to look out on. In 9th is Rido on 17 points, just 2 points behind Mrs. Guesty, so that it's definitely heating up in the mid-table of the championship. That's bound to be an absolute cracker. In 10th, we have Pat on 14 points, so not that far behind him. So if he gets a good haul of points today, like he did in the WRX that we showed earlier on, it's bound to be a pretty good one. And in 11th, we have Skyjack on just 6 points. He didn't race in the second race of the first round, so hopefully back this time. I'm not quite sure what happened with that one. And so far we've had Norkis, Harv, and Silverstar so far not turn up. So cracking on with this race. Yes, it's a 2-minute, 30-minute races, I believe. They've had a 10-minute qualifier as well. So, shall we have a look at how that pans out? And we're in the dark again. I'm starting to think that this is becoming a trend of mine of being thrown into the deep end. So, thank you very much, guys. Thank you so much. So, who do we have on pole? And it is Racer Brown. Who else? Well, Racer Brown is at the front, taking pole position. He's be looking to have a good start. He'll definitely want a good start if he wants to keep his championship fight alive. And speaking of championships alive, in second place we have Guesty, car 85, on second. He'll be definitely wanting to keep that lead on this championship. Can't see Bunny yet, although it's just a stray of light. So is Guesty going to get the advantage at the end of this race, I wonder, and perhaps take the lead of the championship? And in third, we have Homesick Alien, car 77, and the Krispy Kreme donuts. I don't know why I keep mentioning donuts, because I think you people do this on purpose to me. So, yeah, so Homesick Alien on third. In fourth, we have, it's the Ensign Hewitt, Big Dan, car 34, and the Rich Energy. I still don't know if he's been paid for those yet. He's going to have to inform me on that one. In fourth place. In fifth, it's the Bullet of Bazza. In fifth, car 74, that Alpine replica, always looking nice. Well, to be fair, they're all looking good, so can't complain on that one. Excuse me. In sixth, it is Silver Star. First time we've seen him in the Renault Megane Trophy with his signature bonnet and looking very French, sir. Looking very French. Obviously, there's a bit of a theme going on with Silver Star here. Not usual, none of his normal sponsors on, so I guess he's fancied a bit of a change. Then sixth was that, yeah. Actually, to be fair, you've done quite well for sixth. Well done. In seventh, that is Mrs. Guesty in the purple Monster Energy. And Mr. Guesty's got like a turquoisey colour. That's pretty cool. But for eighth place, that's pretty good. In ninth, that is Perchon, I believe. I still haven't remembered these numbers because I am an absolute muppet. Where 52? Yeah. Oh no, it's Rideau. It is Rideau. I do apologise. Car 52 and Rideau, the fast lane conveyors. I'm still getting used to the numbers. Please don't hate me. That's Perchon. That's Perchon in 10th. That is definitely Perchon. I will remember numbers. I've got the memory of a dead fish, so yeah, hold me out to that one. So Perchon starting in 10th, and then 11 we have Pat, who had quite a good string of podiums in the WRX in the mud earlier on. So is he going to be able to keep up that form? It's going to be interesting to see. So there's the grid. Shall we crack on? No, I don't know why I do that. And that's what we want, and that's all on magnificent. Oh, before we start, what we'll do is we'll go through the tyres as well. So, Racer Brown, who's on pole, he's got the softs on. Guesty, he also has the softs on. Homesick Alien starting on the medium. So, Homesick Alien getting the strategy out, getting the mandatory tyre out of the way already. Big Dan, he's starting on the softs. So, Homesick did quite well to get third on the mediums. We've got Bazza, he's starting on the softs. Silver Star is starting on the softs. Mrs. Guesty on the mediums, so she's getting that tyre out of the way. Rideau's gone for softs. Perchon's gone for softs. And Pat has gone mediums. So we've got a little bit of a mixed grid for tyre combination. So this is going to be quite interesting to see. So let's give this one a whirl, shall we? So let's give it a good crack. So RB will definitely want to get an early lead from the start with 5 lights on, and away we go. And it's a bit of a slow start for Racer Brown, as Guesty's already had a look on the inside and has already taken the lead coming up to the first corner. Stray of lights there, and Racer Brown's coming back on the inside. He's going to have the advantage on the inside, and Homesick Alien not that far behind them. in the medium tyre, so he'll be looking to try and stretch it out. And there we go, Guesty's gone into the lead already. He'll probably want to stretch that out and get away from the following aliens and help his championship out. No cause. Racer Brown still in second. Homesick holding on to him in third on the medium tyres. It's quite impressive, admittedly. Baz has moved up to fourth. He's gone wide a little bit, and that's Big Dan chasing him behind, but someone's gone wide. Is that Homesick? It is Homesick. So the medium tyre still needs a little bit more of a warm-up. Those softs won't warm up in much time compared to the mediums. Big Dan's just squeezed through from Bazza, so he's making up places already, and Bazza's dropping down a little bit. This is Guesty in sixth, doing a cracking job on those mediums. Pat's moved up into seventh, so we've lost a few already, which is Rido, Perchon and Silver Star, but he's still in view of the small pack in front of him that leads up to 8, so he's still got a bit of company to play with, so maybe he'll be able to make up for lost ground. Back at the front, we've got RB chasing down Guesty already, slithering out of that corner, looking for the grip when the car doesn't want to know about it, and pulling out a lead to Homesick Alien already. I have a feeling this is going to be an absolute battle and a half between these two titans. Guesty leading the championship, Racer Brown further down, so he'll want to score maximum points today to keep his hand on that trophy. The Homesick Alien will want something to say about that. Biggest rival, Racer Brown, already running away, but he already has a slight advantage using the mediums, because Racer Brown will have to use them at some point as well, so that could even everything out. Big Dan chasing down Homesick Alien. Don't often see this, but when we see it, we love to see it. Love to see the mid-packs duking it out with the aliens. With a tyre advantage, you know he's going to have a look on the inside coming up to the next right-hander, and he does. The grip advantage, oh no, the back end wants to kick out. Dan controls it considerably well, but he's lost exit speed from that corner. Homesick Alien already having a look, and Baz is having a look at both of them. Says, I'll have a piece of that pie, sir. I'll tell you what, I'll give you a bit of a push as well. He's giving Dan just that little bit of an edge, but Homesick Alien, has he still got the side? No, he hasn't. And oh, I don't know what happened there. So Big and always Homesick holding on to the inside. No, he managed to squeeze through. So Dan makes the place confirmed. Batter not far behind him, so he'll probably want a piece of Homesick's pie as well and move up into fourth. Mrs. Guesty in sixth. She catching them up on the mediums. She's doing well to stick with them at the moment, so she's doing a cracking job already on the mediums. Pat is in seventh as well on the mediums, and he's gone wide a little bit. He's on the grass. Can he hold it? Yes, of course he can. Using the drifting experience he had from the rally, from the WRX earlier on, and using it to his advantage on the grass, although he probably won't have as much grip as he did before. Rido in eighth, so slight drop. No, he's gained one place at the moment, but he is starting to lose the pack, and the softs will bear out quicker than the medium, so he'll need to take as much advantage as he can before he loses grip on the rest of the pack, although Pat looks like he's dropping down a little bit, so he might be losing. Yes, he is dropping to Mrs. Guesty a bit, so he's on the mediums, let's not forget. Rido on the soft, so he'll be definitely wanting to catch them up. Perch on as well in ninth, he'll be wanting to keep up with them as well. So those softs will wear out quite quickly, and Silver Star, the unfortunate soul of all of this, started 5th or 6th somewhere on the grid, I can't remember already, and he's dropped to last, so he'll definitely be disappointed with that start. Whether it was a clouting together or not, I don't know, but he's still got time to make up. Still time to make up. So Guesty still holding on to the lead with Racer Brown firmly on his back bumper, sniffing what octane he's using in that Renault Megane. He's looking left and right, looking for a way to get through, to come through this tricky chicane. Taking now the right angle and the right speed, you can absolutely nail it, but just one small mistake and you end up sideways. And that's Big Dan chasing them as well. So he's taking full advantage of the softs, but we know that Dan can go through soft tyres like breakfast. And quickly wear those softs out, as we normally do, as we can see the difference that he's used his tyres a lot more than Racer Brown, so tyre deg is a lot higher on Big Dan, but he can certainly get the speed out of it, especially if he can overtake Racer Brown, but is Racer Brown nursing these tyres? Has he got the strategy planned out already to give him the advantage he needs to get into first? Big Dan just throwing caution to the wind and just going hell for leather. Well, we wouldn't have it any other way if it were the case. In fourth, we've got Homesick Alien. He's got quite a gap between himself in front and behind. So nobody pressuring, but him not pressuring anybody, so he can just have a nice, calm race, just nursing the tyres round, using minimum fuel. I don't know whether they real fuel or not. I suppose it's up to them, but the less fuel he uses, the bigger advantage he can get, but make it up in the pits. Mrs. Guesty dropping back from Homesick. Even though she is on the medium, so is Homesick Alien. So is she using a strategy of some sort? Is she nursing the tyres round, make them last as long as possible to get a good burst on the softs? Pat in sixth as well. He'll be chasing down. He is chasing down Mrs. Guesty, but we know Rido's catching up to him, so we'll have the pressure on him soon. But he still has to use the medium tyres, so it's not all at the ballpark already. It just means you have a slight disadvantage to your competitors in front of you, because you still have to use the mandatory tyre. He's got Bazza as well. Has Bazza dropped? I'm sure he has, because he wasn't behind Rido to start with. So Bazza must have made a mistake at some point. Yeah, lap 3 at 1:32. So a small mistake from Bazza has probably cost him dearly, but we know he's fast, and we'll know that he'll make up the places no end. Perch on in ninth. Not the start he would probably want. He probably wishes that he was further up there, but oh, excuse me. Let's not forget that Perchon is still fairly new to us. He's still learning the ropes. He's still getting a hang of these sort of races. So it's all a learning curve for him. At the end of the day, it's all beneficial. In 10th, we have struggling Silver Star. He's not doing particularly bad lap times. He's only 26.0, so he's got some consistency, so maybe he'll be able to make up some lost time if he just stays consistent, nurse the tyres. We know he can nurse a set of tyres quite well, so hopefully he'll be able to come back to it, maybe make the slash longer if he can keep ahead of them. He can keep them above everyone else. It's all in his game. So Racer Brown has now got the lead, so he's definitely thrown strategy out the window and said, sod this, I'm going to boot it. And Racer Brown has nursed them softs quite well compared to Guesty. He's got that much more grip, so Guesty has been using the tyres a bit more. 25.3 in his last lap, so 24.8. So there's really not that much between them. This is going to hot up like kettle on full blast. Who's going to come out on top on this one? And Big Dan is not that far behind him either. He has the fastest lap with a 24. No, Racer Brown! Racer Brown is skidding and must have caught the tyres on the grass. Poor Racer Brown. It's another error from Racer Brown. Another rarity indeed. And maybe he hasn't quite got the rust off of his driving style. He has been out for months, so maybe he's still just that little bit rusty. But give him time, he'll come back with an absolute bang, and you know he'll be fighting it off with the championship. But that means it's good news for Homesick, because that means his main rival's already out of the way, but he needs to get his other rival out of the way, which is Guesty. So this is definitely, if it keeps it up as is, Guesty's got definitely one hand above in the championship lead, if he can keep this up. But Dan's not that far behind him, although he has used his tyres a hell of a lot more, so it's hard to say who's going to come out on top of this one. And Homesick's not that far behind him on the mediums, let's not forget. So he's doing an absolutely cracking job. At 25.7 from Homesick in that last lap. And he's consistently within the 25 for the past 3 laps, so he's doing a cracking job. Mrs. Guesty moving up to 4 thanks to Racer Brown's spin. So she taking advantage of that. Racer Brown must be absolutely kicking himself, because he's got all the work to do now. So is he now going to bring back the strategy out of the bin to make it work to his advantage? Bazza's moved up to 6, so he has got back in front of Rido, and he'll be wanting to take advantage as well, but just can't can't get that much speed out of the Megane, but you never know in these races. Just one small mistake and anybody can make you pay for it. He's got Renault for company as well, so he hasn't been able to shake Renault, so that's a battle heating up. We've got Pat as well. I think Pat was higher up as well, so maybe it's the medium tyres now taking effect now. Medium tyres obviously don't have as much grip as the softs, but they do last longer, and he's got Perchon firmly up his rear bumper. He'll be wanting to get past Pat quickly so that he can get his race on, because he's invited Silverstar back into it. There was a small gap back to Perchon, from Perchon should I say, so he's managed to make up some ground. He's now got Pat and Perchon for company, so this is going to end up a cracking battle, cracking fight at the back of the pack. So Guesty still holds him in the lead. He can't shake racing. He can't shake Big Dan. Big Dan giving him all sorts of trouble and really having to make him work for it. But at the same time, he's also making his tyres work, because he's already used at least a good chunk of the 60% of his tyre wear. So he's going to be feeling that pretty soon. Guesty only using about 50% of his front left. So he's definitely trying to take best care as he can of the soft tyres. He's doing a lot better than Big Dan, but never count Big Dan out, because he could surprise you. Racing the Homesick Alien on the mediums, he's not really used the front left all that much. It goes to show the difference in tyre wear between the two compounds. So at the moment I'd probably say it's advantage Homesick Alien. But how long will he make those medium last? And how long can he make the softs last to give him the better advantage when everybody else could go onto the mediums? Remember, they only have to use the mediums once. So anybody could choose another set of softs or go onto the mediums and get them out of the way. So who knows? Racer Brown is up into fourth, so she's got past Mrs. Guesty. So knew that would be an inevitability, but she did well to hold him off for so long. The gap is not all that big in front of them. If she can hold on to him to get a bit of a tow down the long straight, that will definitely help her out, especially against her battle with Bazza, who's making his way up after losing it on lap 3. So he's trying to make up for lost ground. He's bringing Renault along as well. Renault not all that far behind Bazza, so there's definitely one that we're going to have to keep our eye on. Can he take advantage though of the softs? As they're starting to run out as well. He's used that front left quite a lot as well. And Silverstar's got ahead of Perchon and Pat. So Silverstar's managed to gain 2 places. Whether it was a mistake from either or two, I don't know. But Perchon isn't all that far behind him, so I'm going to say no. And Pat has dropped off, so yeah, he's on 130 already, and he's still got to go around the last corner. So Pat must have made a mistake somewhere, which probably cost Perchon quite a bit, which allowed Silverstar to go through. So Silverstar up to 8th now, so all he has to do now is get his head down, concentrate, and he could be able to catch up. They're not completely out of sight. Renault is got a considerable gap back to himself and Silverstar. So if he just keeps his head down, we might be able to avoid one another, but Silverstar probably wants more playmates. So back at the front then we have Guesty doing a 125 to that last lap. He's been quite consistent really. He's in the, well, not really consistent, I don't know what I'm saying. He's in the 26 zeros, 25s, so he's just taking it easy around these corners. He's trying to nurse them softs. Those softs are now on the bad side of life. There's Big Dan, he's used a good chunk of the sauce, and Homesick Alien has caught him up. This is where the advantage disappears, because the racing mediums still have plenty of grip left, whereas Dan hasn't really got much left. Now, is he going to fight the Alien? Is he going to fight the Alien, or is he going to make his own race? Let's move around to the outside, and no, he's not letting him through just yet. Homesick's now sniffing the back end of that Megane. So is he going to fight him? Keep an eye on it for now. Homesick looking at the back, probably looking for the correct move. He doesn't want to cost himself too much time in his race with Racer Brown, who is a country mile away. Or maybe just staying behind Big Dan for now, just to give him a bit of a tow. He catches up on the corner. Is he going to have a go on the main straight. We'll keep with them for now just to see if they'll have a go at the main straight. And that's bad. No, miss. Oh, that's Guesty. Guesty must have slipped it on that corner, and he's now dropped down into third. So Big Dan has taken the lead, and now Homesick's going to have a look at the lead as well. If Homesick can get the lead from this point, it is surely advantage Homesick Alien. He's having a look, and he's got the inside. Dan brakes early to give himself, and Homesick goes through. So Homesick Alien takes the lead. But Big Dan not that far behind him. He's struggling for grip. He's not coming in just yet though. He's got a little bit of life left in that front left tyre. He's probably going to use him for a bit of a tow. Guesty must be absolutely kicking himself. He had a firm lead ahead of Big Dan, and now he's got to do the work all over again. Meanwhile, Racer Brown has got a bit of space between in front and back, so he's probably just now working on his strategy and nursing them tyres for as long as possible, because he'll still have to go onto the mediums. Bazza's chasing him down. He's used that front left quite a considerable bit as well, being quite consistent as well. Fastest lap at 1:23.0, his last lap at 26 dead, compared to Racer Brown, who's done a 26.9. So Bazza, if he keeps up that sort of pace, he'll be right behind Racer Brown at some point. Meanwhile, Rido holding on into sixth. Was he that far ahead? I don't remember. So Mrs. Guesty has dropped off behind Rido, because she was in front. I'm sure she was fourth at one point. Oh, excuse me, the throat's a real dry. Oh, there we go. So I'm sure Mrs. Guesty was up in fourth at one point. She's now dropped to seventh, but she's on the mediums, we have to remember. So it's those mediums that are probably slowing her down a little bit, but she doesn't have to use them again, so she won't have to worry about that. Meanwhile, further back, we've got Silver Star, who I think he is actually gaining on Mrs. Guesty, so he's going to be able to take advantage of the tyre advantage. We'll have to wait and see. Perch on, meanwhile, he's not coming in, and Rido is pitting. He's had enough of those softs. He wants a bit more grip, so we'll have to wait and see what he goes on to. That's going to let Perch on through, and possibly Pat as well, Pat's a country mile away, so that's not going to work out. So Rido's only just he's only changed tyres, probably no fuel. So what's he gone on to now? We'll have to have a look round in a minute. We'll come back to you, mate. So Homesick now taking advantage of the lead he has. Racing Medium's now coming into the road. He's dropping Big Dan, who's got no front left. Try saying that 5 times fast. He has no front left tyre left. So he'll probably want to come in and pit this lap. We're already halfway through the race. So he's made the softs go on longer than he probably needed to, and now Guesty's going to have a look. He's got more front grip than Big Dan has, and yes, there he goes on the inside, brilliantly executed. So Big Guesty now moves up into second place, and Big Dan not pitting yet. He's not surrendering that tyre just yet. He thinks he can get a little bit more out of it, but it's going to be costing him. Meanwhile, Racer Brown in fourth. There's quite a gap between third and fourth, so he's got a bit of catching up to do. There's Bazza in fifth. He's not letting Racer Brown out of his sight. He's taken that racing soft as best as he can. It's heavily worn, so he'll need to pit soon. Mrs. Guesty also in sixth, chasing down the Bazza. She has caught up a small amount, 27.8. On her last lap with Bazza's 25.9, so he has extended the gap actually. So Bazza taking advantage as best as he can. Silver Star as well, 27.0. Not that. No, he's faster than Mrs. Guesty. Faster than Mrs. Guesty with the tyre difference. But he'll also have to pit at some point as well. Perch on as well, not letting Silver Star out of his sight, keeping his foot firmly to the floor and on the back of that French Megane. Rido, he has pitted. He's put on the softs again. So did he use the mediums before? I think he used the softs before, so I think he still has to use the mediums. Pat as well on the mediums. He's carrying on, and there's quite a bit of a gap between himself and Rido. So Pat with all the work to do, but he's getting the tyre out of the way. Homesick has extended his lead over Guesty now. Guesty has got in front of Big Dan now. That tyre's definitely cooked now. In fact, he's nearly cooked the rear left as well. So that left-hand Megane is screaming and begging for mercy. He's had enough. The white flag is out for Big Dan on them tyres. They'll want more, but he's saying, no, thank you, you can carry on going. But he's losing Guesty. This is where it all makes a difference. This is where it all comes to all the tyre degradation, the care, the planning. This is where it all comes into effect. But can Guesty take advantage to catch up Homesick Alien? Because Homesick's definitely sniffing on Guesty's back door for the lead of the championship at this rate. If he keeps up this, Guesty trying to break the toe to Big Dan, but not getting the toe of Homesick Alien, so that's quite an interesting strategy, without doubt. There's Racer Brown at the back. Is he going to be catching up this front pack, I wonder? There's Bazza as well, the beautiful Alpine Renault, looking very smart, and there's Mrs. Guesty as well, and I think Silverstar is indeed catching Mrs. Guesty, but his tyres are starting to weed out a little bit. So is he planning a no-stopper? Because let's not forget, even though it's even though it's a 30-minute race, they don't have to stop. They can if they choose to, but it's going to cost them. It will cost you. You'll have to make up for lost ground. Perchon doesn't seem to be gaining on Silverstar. Reno as well after his pit stop. Can he take advantage of the fresher tyres? Is he able to catch up? He's got quite a mountain to climb. That gap to himself and Perchon. So Reno's got it all to do, but then Pat as well on 7th, getting the mediums out of the way though, so maybe 10th, but it's still points at the end of the day, and points that nobody else who isn't racing today isn't getting. So I'm positively sure that he's not going to pit at all, so he's going to be taking these mediums all the way to the end. Guesty as well, I don't think he'll be pitting, because even though the front left has had enough, nothing left on that front left, so is he going to carry on going? I assume that Big Dan is as well, considering his left-hand side is completely cooked. And if they are, it's going to be a very late call. Guesty doesn't pit, and neither does Big Dan, so they're not pitting for the time being. Racer Brown isn't either, and he's also nearly, very, very nearly cooked all of his left-hand tyres. 7 minutes to go. Is he going to be able to hold on to that fourth? Bazza as well, he's cooked that front left completely. The rear left still has a little bit of life left. It just goes, oh no, Bazza's gone. Bazza's gone. Is he able to hold it? Can he hold it? Oh yes, look at that, beautifully done. Is Mrs. Guesty going to take advantage? Yes, she does. Mrs. Guesty goes through into 5th, takes full advantage. That's just to show what one mistake can do as long as you're close to your competitors. And I'm sure I saw somebody pit. Yes, it was Perchon. So Perchon has pitted for fresher softs, I believe. Are we going to find out? Very slow pit out. There we go. And it is, yes it is, racing soft, so he's bought a fresh set of tyres late in the race. I'm not sure, quite sure he's going to take advantage of it, or maybe he was just sick of dead tyres, to be fair. And who can blame him? Pat as well. Pat he's not far off Perchon, so he's nearly got a playmate to duke it out for 9th place. So maybe this is just a little bit of aggro he needed to just he can put his foot down and see if he can catch up for 9th place. Back at the front again, and we've got Homesick still holding on to the lead, who's got quite a considerable gap to Guesty now. The tyres definitely making a difference now. That gap is increasing, but he's still holding on, and Big Dan is not letting him out of his sight, despite the pair of them have got absolutely cooked left-hand tyres. They're not shaking each other off. And now they're going to hold off to keep on that podium, because Racer Brown is gaining on them, even though he's in the exact same position. He is slightly gaining on Big Dan. So can he get the last spot on the podium in the last 5 minutes? Mrs. Guesty as well on mediums. She's done very well with those mediums to look after them. She's in 5th. This is going to be a huge haul of points for her. She definitely can't complain about this. It's a cracking job. Bazza in 6th, and he's got. Is that Silver Star? It is Silver Star. Silver Star is now. This is what I mean about Silver Star. He's nursed and tight. He's still got a little bit of grip left in that front left. None of the front runners have. It goes to show that he can look after a pair of tyres. If he can get his pace up, and with that tyre management, it would be phenomenal without a doubt. So can he take advantage of what little grip he has left compared to Bazza, who only has a little bit left on the rear left? It's not going to help him out much, but everything could give you a little advantage here. So Silver Star could take advantage of the dead tyres of Bazza. Rito as well with the even fresher tyres. He did pit and he is catching up, but he's only got another 3 and a bit minutes left to try and take 6th from Silver Star and Bazza. That looks like to be the most realistic outcome of him getting 6th. If he can keep up the sort of pace that he is, 1:25.4 that last lap, 25, all 25s for the last 5 laps. 5 laps he's done a 1:25, which means he's 2 seconds quicker than those two in front of him. So those two are going to be under immense pressure come the end of the race. Bertrand with his fresh sauce as well. I don't think he'll be able to take advantage. I think you pitted a little bit too late, mate, really. Wanting to have fresh tyres, could have pitted a little bit earlier, get more of an advantage out of them. So, well, it's still a learning curve for you, mate. So here's another lesson for you to take. It's like my old man used to say, the greatest lessons in life are mistakes. Pat as well, in 10th, going off a little bit. Those mediums near enough dead, so he's not going to have much grip on those heavily worn mediums, but still points at the end of the day, and he has lost sight of Bertrand now, so he's just out having a bit of practice, maybe getting himself firmly ready for his Sostin later on and come back with a bounce. So Osic's still maintaining the lead on those mediums. He's nearly worn that front left medium out. Just coming up to 2 minutes left. So he just has to hold on now. He just has to nurse that tyre all the way to the end, and he's got a win in the bag. Another win for the Homesick Alien. Help him out in his championship fight with Guesty, who's still constantly going with those warns, and he still hasn't shaken Big Dan, and he hasn't shaken Racer Brown either. So they're probably going to be a very interesting scrap near the end if they can catch each other up. It's going to be a cracking battle for the 2nd and 3rd on the podium. So we'll definitely have to keep an eye on that one and see who comes out top. Mrs. Guesty as well in 5th. She's done a tremendous job with those mediums, and she's got a big gap in front of her, and she's got a good gap behind her, so she won't want to make any mistakes though, because she'll probably want to keep hold of that 5th place. 5th place is commendable and still a good haul of points, so I wouldn't be complaining at all with 5th. Bazza in 6th as well. He's low on his fuel is flashing, but I don't think it's going to be an issue. Left-hand tyres are completely dead, burnt all the fuel, so he's going to be light as a fiddle, but he's got no grip to put it. And here comes Silver Star in 7th, so he's managed to shake off Rito, unless he made a mistake of some sort. I don't think he had. No, it was Bertrand he was fighting, and he still hasn't caught Rito, but he did get... I don't know if he was behind Bertrand, I can't remember because my memory is crap, but he's still got a big gap between Rito, who did get ahead of Bertrand, I did notice, so it's like 8th might be the best that he can do. Bertrand in 9th as well. We're going to have to cut to the lead in the moment because I think he's coming through. Pat's just going out on the outside. Oh no, they're miles away, so yeah, Pat nearly worn those mediums out. Still 10th at the end of the day, mate, like I keep saying, so I won't worry about it all, mate. And I had to show that, didn't I? That was good timing. But nevertheless, there's the 30-minute marker. We're just waiting for, there it is, the flag has dropped in time for Homesick Alien to just come through the final corner. And there we go, it's another victory for the Alien, taking first place. Well done, mate. Guesty managed to hold on for second place, and here comes Big Dan getting third. Well done, mate. And Arisa Brown comes home in fourth. Mrs. Guesty coming home in fifth. Highly recommended driving. Done very well on the mediums as well. Well done, love, for fifth place. Here comes Bazza as well. Managed to hold off Silver Star. He takes sixth place. Silver Star takes seventh after the poor start, so it was a good catch-up. Redo pitted, and he couldn't take advantage of the fresher tyres, so maybe next time, mate. Maybe next time. We know you're quick. We know you've got the pace, so maybe next time. Redo, 8th place. Perch on as well. He also pitted. Couldn't take advantage of the fresher tyres, but he was a little bit late to the pit stop party. But never mind. 9th for Perch on. And then we have Pat, who's bringing it home in 10th. Fully worn those medium out. But should still be pleased. Yeah, it may be last, but it's still more points than what nobody else is going to get that didn't turn up. So, and we will leave it there. And he's decided to mow the grass. Well, it looked a bit overgrown anyway. So, Pat doing the... Oh, there you go, Pat. You've come in first, look. I've timed that just right. You've come home first. So there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, our winner is Pat. On to the real winner. Unfortunately, sorry, Pat. The winner of race 1 is Homesick Alien. He's going to be catching up the championship leaders now. But it won't be that much of a gain, because Guesty did come home in second. I know it says third, but can we just say that Pat won that one, please? Guesty gets third, so that's going to extend his championship lead to Bunny, who isn't here. So Guesty not taking full advantage of Bunny not being here by gaining maximum points, but we still have another race to go, and he is on the mediums. So it's all to play for in the next race. Big Dan taking third, and another person we rarely see on the podium taking third place. Well done, Big Dan. That's going to help him out in his championship fight with Bazza and everybody else that was near him, who I can't remember. Racer Brown coming home in fourth. Not the result he was probably looking for, but he's still getting some points. He didn't drop many points to the front runners and the championship leaders, really. Not lost a lot, but he'll probably want to come back with a bigger bang than that to really help him out in his championship fight. Mrs. Guesty in, I nearly said sixth then, in fifth, and done a very, very good job for getting sixth. Bazza in seventh as well, holding on with those worn softs for the majority of the race, and same with Big Dan as well. Very commendable, holding off third for that long with those dead tyres. Silver Star in seventh, comeback and a half, admittingly, because he did lose the pack quite early on in the race, but kept his head down, nursed those tyres, and managed to get the car up to seventh. So well done there, Silver Star. Redo in eighth, the pit stop not working to his full advantage. So as I said, maybe you can take a lesson away from this one, and hopefully he'll be able to get a better result next time out. And Perch on in ninth. Again, the pit stop strategy could have worked, but I think you were just a little bit too late, my friend. Just a little bit too late. Maybe a little bit early, and you might be able to take a full advantage of the fresher tyres. So, again, with Redo, the greatest lessons in life are mistakes. And Pat, who wins, no, Pat comes home in 10th. And it's still points at the end of the day, Pat, and it's getting more than what some of your rivals could that may not have turned up. So, never mind, Pat. Did I just say scratching? I guess I'm going daft. So, should we let the final positions play out properly? There we go. Sorry, Pat. Had my way, I'd have that result. I'm not going to lie. So, shall we move on to race 2 then? Actually, I know what we could do. I know what we can do. Oh, I'll do that while it's... I'm sure I had... Was that race 2? I think it was race 2. Because that's what I was on about before. So... Yes. There we go. So, if you don't want any spoilers, look away now. Don't look at it. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. There we go. So, let's pause it just then. We'll fire these up. So, let's have a look. So, it's in reverse order from what they finished in. So, we've got Pat on pole. We've got Perch on in second. Renault third. In fact, let's get rid of this. So, Pat is on the soft. So, can he take advantage of the soft tyre start? Perch on with the mediums in second. We've got third in Renault using the mediums. Silver Star using the mediums in fourth. Bazza using the mediums in fifth. Mrs. Guesty in sixth using the soft tyre. Racer Brown on the mediums in seventh. Big Dan using the mediums in eighth. Guesty using the mediums in ninth. And Homesick is on the mediums again. That is interesting. Well, I guess, it does say it's a mandatory tyre. It doesn't say that you have to use it once. So, is this a strategy from the Homesick? Is this the master strategy of Homesick Alien, of using the mediums twice? Because it doesn't say you have to only use them once. It says you just have to use them once. Who have we got? Oh, yeah, in chat we've got, it's Koi. Hopefully, why have all these replays? Oh, hopefully you have all these replays, because I know I don't have a single one. Well, I don't think you're in the Meganes, mate, so it's perfectly understandable. What had happened was I couldn't find the first race. I could find this one, no problem, but the second one I couldn't find because it was halfway down of where it should have been. But no matter, I did find it at the end of the day, and Racer Brown saying hello. Why, hello, good sir. So before we go, I'm going to wet the whistle. Marvellous. So, and we're in the dark again. No comment. So, we wait for the lights. Is Pat going to take advantage? 5 lights. And off we go. And yes, it's a good start from Pat. Perchon has already lost a little bit of ground. Can't take advantage. Can't get ahead of Pat on the first race as Pat comes up to the corner in the lead with Perchon and Renault. Renault having a look at the inside of Perchon. There's Silver Star. He's having a look at all of them. Can't find a way through though. Bazza on the mediums as well. He's up into 5th. And there's Racer Brown. Racer Brown getting Bazza early on. So Racer Brown not looking around already. Bazza is down to 6th already. Mrs. Guesty in 7th. And then Guesty, and we're at it again. Mrs. Guesty versus Mr. Guesty. Who's going to come out on that one? I'm going to say that... Oh dear. Oh, excuse me. I might have to say that it might be Mrs. Guesty. She's the one with the tyre advantage. And Homesick's having a look at Guesty, but he can't make a way through. He's not making the mediums work to his advantage yet. But he'll know that he'll come back with a ban because he... Oh, and again. He'll be coming back with a ban because he can look after those mediums. And Big Dan also... Yeah, Big Dan was on the mediums because he was on the softs in race 1. So far, Renault's taking the lead from Pat, coming down the big left-hander. But Pat's going to have a look on the inside. He's got the inside. Can he? He can defend it quite well. Well done, Pat, for defending there. Maintaining the lead with Renault right behind him. He's not going to be happy with that one. Silver Star up to 3rd. It's gaining a place on whoever. I think it was it was Perchon actually. It was Perchon. So Perchon has dropped, and Silver Star taking advantage of that already. But he's been hunted by Racer Brown, who will probably make light work of Silver Star. But Silver Star will put up a fight, or is he not going to? Because he knows that it's a fight he won't win, so he won't put much of a tyre. He won't put up much of a fight and battle his main rivals. With Perchon down in 5th, it wasn't wasn't the best start for Perchon. He lost a bit of ground, and that's Bazza having a look on the inside, coming up to the next corner, and he's got, I think that was, no, it's Guesty. I thought it was Pat, because it kind of looks like it, but it isn't. Pat's out in front, so I don't know why I'm on about. And then Bazza has a look at the inside, there's a little bargey in. Oh, Bazza's lost the back end. The back end spinning out, couldn't quite control it, and now he's dropped to the back of the pack. It's unfortunate for Bazza, with everybody else taking much advantage. And look at this long train and a little bit of a gap, and then it's just a clock stuff. But I knew that came out wrong. It is an absolute cluster of cars, and that's Homesick Alien having a look at Mrs. Guesty. So Guesty proving me wrong and getting the advantage of Mrs. Guesty, or whether she pulled up a fight, I don't know. Not quite sure on that one, but now Homesick Alien's having a look at Mrs. Guesty, can't quite take advantage of it, and there's Big Dan swarming all over the back of Homesick Alien. Is he going to get the inside coming up to the first corner? He does, but he can't hold it off. Homesick goes round the outside, maintains the place, and Bertrand's now having a look at Big Dan, and there's now quite a bit of a gap to Bazza, so probably couldn't get the dirt off of his tyres quick enough and lost sight of the pack, so that is unfortunate. Meanwhile, at the front, Pat doing very well, holding off the lead at the moment. He's got Rito chasing behind him, and there's Racer Brown. Racer Brown having a look at Rito, so he did get past Silver Star when it was easy or not. I'm not 100% sure, but we won't go and have a look, because otherwise I'll be here all day. Can't quite take advantage of Rito, and he's losing time to Silver Star, who's going to come back at him, but he's having Guesty for company, so Guesty piling on the pressure to Silver Star. So then Mrs. Guesty in 6th. He's been hounded by Homesick Alien. We've got Big Dan in 8th as well. He's not losing sight of them either. There's quite an even train between majority of them now, all the way back to Perchon. The only one outstanding is Bazza, but will he be able to catch up? Remember, people can make mistakes. He might be able to get back into this race if he plays his cards right. Pat's still holding off in the lead, though, doing incredibly well. He's got a little bit of a gap between himself and Rito. Pat using those soft tyres to the best of his advantage and holding off very well, but Rito does have Racer Brown right on his jacksies. Racer Brown will probably make light work of Rito because he wants to go off for the win. So he won't want to be hanging around behind Rito for much longer, otherwise Pat is going to extend that lead even more so. But one small mistake and Silver Star is going to take advantage of it, and so will Guesty, because he's not quite far behind them either. Just one mistake from 2nd all the way down to 5th, just one mistake, and that will punish you dearly. And in 6th we've got Big Dan. Was Big Dan in front of Homesick this whole time? I can't remember if he was, but either way, Homesick has gotten, he's in 7th. I'm not quite sure if he was there before, I don't know, I can't remember any of this, but Homesick not taking advantage of the mediums that I thought he would, or maybe it was just traffic. And Mrs. Guesty has dropped. Oh, that is a shame. She was doing incredibly well further up, but must have lost it at some point. Yeah, 7 minutes to the sector, so she's probably lost the back end at some point, and everyone's taking advantage of that. She's giving Perchon something to think about, though, because she's right up the trump. Is she having a look on the inside? She got the better exit out of the corner. She's having a look at the inside, and there she goes up into 8th. So even the small mistakes, just keep your head down, love, and stay calm, cool and collected, and they'll all come back to you if they all start making mistakes. Bazza, unfortunately, all on his own, probably just going to use this as a practice session now to give himself to adjust himself to the Megane, because that thing is a handful. So Racer Brown is now in 2nd. He's got ahead of Rito, and he's now giving Pat something to think about, something chronic, and he's having a look on the inside. Pat can't hold that off. Is he going to fight him, though? I'm not 100% sure, because this isn't his fight. He'll be wanting to maybe keep behind Racer Brown to give him a little bit of a helping hand towards the pot. And there we go. Racer Brown is moving up to the right-hand side of Pat. Oh, is that might a little bit argy-bargy, I'm not 100% sure, but Pat has got the inside for the corner, so it's going to be all about the brakes. Who's got the bravest brakes? And it's Pat who maintains first place. But he has got the soft tyres, so he has got the better grip, so he's using that to his full advantage, but Racer Brown is not letting him get away with that, and Guesty and Renault now at it now. Guesty not wanting Racer Brown to get him too far ahead, because he's got a championship lead to think about, so he can't afford to let Racer Brown get too far ahead of him, so he'll probably want to make light work of Renault, so he can carry on his fight with Racer Brown. Silver Star in 5th, doing a hell of a job, admittedly, in 5th. He's got Big Dan for company, though. You know, Big Dan can go through a set of tyres fairly quickly. So, is he going to make the medium tyres last long enough? He doesn't use that much over Silver Star, so he's not using them as quickly, but he's still using them just as much. Still got Mrs. Guesty in 7th, trying to track down, and she's now got Homesick Alien for trouble. That's one that she definitely probably won't want to fight. She'll know that Homesick's got the better advantage, so she probably won't be putting up that much of a fight. And Racer Brown has taken the lead. I've just noticed it, and there we go. He's gone around the right-hand side of Pat. Coming up to the corner, is Pat going to have a look on the inside coming into the corner? I don't think he's got the speed. He's having a look, and no, he is going for it. He's going for it. And he pulls it off. What a move from Pat. What an absolute ball and a half of a move. Maintains first place. So Pat is actually fighting Racer Brown, but all this fighting is inviting Guesty and Renault to the party. So the more they fight, the more that these two are going to get involved with it, and then it's going to be a scrap for all 3 places of the podium. And if they continue to fight, it's going to invite Silver Star into the party as well, who's also bringing Big Dan. So it could end up being a 6-way fight for the podiums. What an absolute treat we are getting right here. Big Dan just has a look on the inside of Silver Star. Did he get the better exit coming up to the corner? He's not catching up all that well, so he's just backing off a little bit, but you can see the front 5 in front of him, so the front 5 probably covered by mere 5 seconds, so he won't want to lose that much time with it. Mrs. Guesty as well, still holding off the Homesick of Aliens, so she's doing a very commendable job. Homesick not able to find a way past Mrs. Guesty. Or is this also part of his master strategy? But fuel really isn't a factor in this race, so not quite sure what's going on, or maybe it's just Mrs. Guesty making it quite difficult for him. And Guesty's gone into the lead. No, that's not Guesty, that's Racer Brown, you fool. Racer Brown has taken the lead. Pat has dropped to 4th. So it was probably a minor mistake from Pat, or a little bit of argy-bargy, I don't know, we won't go look. So I have a feeling it may have been a bit of a mistake, because he's dropped off from 1st to 4th. So yeah, 1:29 in the last lap, so it might have been a mistake, which means that Racer Brown has been released, and Guesty is up to 2nd now. So this is all to play for now. This is for the lead of the championship. But Guesty does have a bit of an advantage, because he won one of the previous races, whereas Racer Brown wasn't even on the podiums, and I think, no, it was Homesick Alien that won. Guesty came 2nd in that race, so Guesty will still have a good sizable chunk in the lead of the championship as long as he keeps in 2nd. He's got Renault for company as well, and that's Pat's still in 4th. Big Dan's now into 5th. His Silver Star has dropped. Has he made a small mistake somewhere in those right-handers? Perhaps, maybe. We're not 100% sure, but he has been dropped by Big Dan. So, but to be fair as well, Racer Brown is actually pulling away from this small pack. So 2nd and 3rd is all to play for. It's anybody's guess who's going to come out on top of that one. So Homesick Alien has finally got in front of Mrs. Guesty, but she's still giving him a fight for it. Mrs. Guesty on the inside, coming up to the start-finish straight. She's still there. She's still holding the line. The pair of them hold their line, but Homesick Alien having the bigger nerve, going
full beans round the outside. Well played those two for not having any form of collision. Well done, you two. So Homesick now in 7th place. He'll be wanting to trace down Silverstar, gain up some lost ground that he's lost so far in the first race. He didn't win race 1 of round 2, so he needs to get his head down if he wants to stay in that fight. We've got Perch on in 9th as well. He's slowly from Pax. He's not had the best race this race round, but who knows? Maybe he's fooling us. Maybe he's just leading us into a false sense of security, and one day he's just going to rise and just say, "Behold, mortals, this is my true form." We'd love to see it. Bazza as well, playing catch up. He's not doing too bad times. 1:25.8, the fastest lap. He's only 4 tenths off the fastest lap, which is Racer Brown's. So he's not that far off the pace. It's just a little bit of bad luck. My guess is in lap 2. So Racer Brown now has extended that lead, but not by much. The Guesty not letting him out of his sight. He's got a championship to fight for, and he will fight tooth and nail for it. He's bringing Renault along with him, the top 3, separated by only a couple of seconds, so this could end up being anybody's race, really. One false mistake, and one of these 3 is going to pay for it. Got Big Dan in 4th as well. Oh, that was a spin, and that's Renault. I heard the tyre squeal in the back, and Renault has dropped the back end. Poor Renault, he was doing so well in 3rd. And coming out of that corner, must have dropped. You see the smoke billowing from the overcooked tyres. Poor Renault, he's not going to be particularly happy with that one as Mrs. Guest goes through, and he's dropped down to 8th. And he's lost the back end again. Oh, poor Renault, I'll go away. Poor chap. And Perchon goes through, and is Bazza? No, Bazza's a little bit too far away, but I'm pretty sure he would like a playmate. He's probably all on his own, probably feeling a little bit lonely. He says, I would like somebody to play with. I'm a bit bored. Racer Brown, however, keeping the calm, cool, collected mood. This is the Racer Brown we're used to seeing, the calm, cool, collected Racer Brown, just getting the job done. Despite the little bit of pressure he's getting from Guesty, who's not letting him out of his sight. They've extended their lead from Big Dan in 3rd. They're just cracking on and getting on with it now. They've got points to think about. No silly mistakes required here or wanted. Big Dan now 3rd place. Has he got a chance for a podium? Who knows? Can he make those mediums last? We're in halfway of this race. He's used just over half of those front left mediums, so he's done a cracking job. If he can make them racing mediums last, he's on for a podium. Pat holding off Silverstar in 4th. He's used those front lefts quite heavily. There's not much meat left on those, so is Pat going to pit and go for a literal last minute dash, or is he going to bother with a no stopper and just take those tyres all the way to the end? We've seen people do it, so it wouldn't surprise me if he did. But Silverstar giving him lots and lots of things to think about. He's still on the racing mediums, and he's still got plenty of meat left on it. And there he goes, moves on to the right hand side. He's going to take the outside of the left-hander coming up, and we've seen Pat defend that very well. As there he does it again. Is he overcooked it? No, he hasn't. And he's got the inside. Pat defending like an absolute brick wall. But Silverstar does the old switcheroo, goes up on the inside of Pat and takes advantage of it and goes up into 4th. Coming out to be a cracking race for Silverstar, but Pat's still giving him something to think about as they come up to the right-hander. He just outbrakes Silverstar just that little bit more, but he can't take advantage of it. So Silverstar holds off into 4th place. All this fighting about, and Homesick Alien has come for the party. The mothership has dropped him off in the fight, so he'll probably make light work of these two. So he's got a championship to think about as well. Mrs. Guesty in 7th as well. She's a bit Maya lonesome at the moment, but no pressure means she can just knuckle down and get on with it. 7th's still a cracking position to end up at the end of the day. So there's There's nothing wrong with 7th at all. Perchon in 8th. Quite a gap between himself, Mrs. Guesty and Rido. So same situation as Mrs. Guesty. No one in front, no one behind. So it's just a case of knuckle down and get to the end of the race. Still get those points. Rido in 9th place. He's going to be still kicking himself. And I have this unfortunate habit of catching your drifts, Rido. What are we doing, sir? Renault loses the back end coming out of that right-hander. It's a different one from where he did before, but Bazza now has a playmate, so these two are going to have a good race. Or is Renault going to let him through? He's having a look. He's going to have the inside of the left-hander, but these two are now going to be battling amongst themselves. Bazza will just be pleased to have a playmate again, so all said is good, but he's made light work of him, and Bazza moves up into 9th. What did I say earlier, mate? Just mistakes could still gain you places. So just keep knuckling down and getting on with it. So at the front, the gap between Racer Brown and Guesty has barely changed. It's barely changed between these absolute mammoth titans. Just know that one small mistake from either of these two is going to cost dearly. They won't be making many mistakes either. We rarely see them from Guesty. We've seen a bit more from Racer Brown, but is the rust starting to peel off from his recent absence? And are we going to see the Racer Brown of old come in and just destroy the competition? It looks like we're going back to that way. So if this is the Racer Brown of old, I think everybody's going to be in some serious trouble. Guesty's still giving him trouble, though. He hasn't let him out of his sight. Still giving him Racer Brown some pressure to think about. So the fight is still on for the win, with Homesick Alien winning race 1, who is in 4th. He'll be chasing down Big Dan now. Can Big Dan hold off Racer Brown to maintain that podium? It's going to be interesting to see. Homesick will definitely be piling on the pressure, and Dan will be feeling it. Pat, meanwhile, in 5th. That front left is dead. That front left is completely destroyed. So he's going to be nursing that all the way home now. But he has managed to drop Silver Star. Mistake on the last lap, a 1:38.5. So he's lost a bit of time to Pat. So he's got a bit of catching up to do, and he's got Perch on for company. So he hasn't got time to worry about the mistake now. He's just got to knuckle down and get on with it. And otherwise, Perchon's going to be all up in his case. Perchon hasn't used his tyres as much as Silver Star, so that could play to its own later on in the race. Mrs. Guesty in 8th. Was that where they were before? Oh, I don't remember. Well, Mrs. Guesty in 8th. Oh yeah, a 37.9 in the last lap, so she must have made a mistake somewhere. I'm sure she was a lot higher than that, so a mistake from Mrs. Guesty. She's dropped down into 8th. Poor Mrs. Guesty. She's probably going to be quite annoyed with that one. Bazza as well. Bazza's managed to drop Rido, so no longer having a playmate and just getting on with it, and Rido will be wanting to catch him up. And even if he doesn't, mate, as I always say, he's got his hazards on. He has his hazards on, so not quite sure what's going on there. Has he got technical issues, maybe? That's maybe a technical issue. I'm not 100% sure. We'll have to keep our eye on that one. He's still going, though, so I don't know. So, back at the front, Racer Brown still holding off Guesty. That gap has increased. It has increased, so Racer Brown looks like he's nailing this one. He definitely wants a race win. He's sniffing blood. He wants that top spot on the podium. And I think he's probably going to nail it. We're into the final 10 minutes with just 8.5 minutes coming up left to go. And is this going to be Racer Brown's first win of this series? We'll have to wait and see. Guesty already having won in race 1. He'll probably have something to say about that. He's got Big Dan still for company. He's not all that far behind him. He's a bit of a gap, granted, but keeps his head down and might be able to catch him. fairly consistent as well. 25.9, 26.0, 26.2. Not sure of lap 60 or 25.5, 25.8. So he has been fairly consistent. He's doing incredibly well, keeping on to that third. He's definitely keeping Homesick Alien at bay as well, who isn't able. Look like he's able to put much of a dent into the gap between himself and Big Dan. So is Big Dan going to be able to hold off for a podium, which would be good to see.
Did he get a podium in the last one?
I can't remember if he got. I think he did get a podium. I think he did. I don't know. But Silverstar is up into 5th now, so he has dropped Pat. Pat, that tyre, screaming and begging for mercy, but it's had enough. And oh no, he's gone wide. He's gone completely wide. That tyre absolutely dead for brains. Even the rear left is nearly had its day as well, as Perchon and Mrs. Guesty goes through as well. So those two taking absolute advantage of the mistake from Pat. Poor Pat, he's dropped to 8th. And Bazza and Perchon just a little bit further away, but Pat will be disappointed. He had such a good start to the race, and it's just all fallen away from him. And poor Pat. And yeah, Dan did get 3rd in the first race, so it'll be another 3rd for him. That would be a cracking result for Dan. 2 thirds in one round. That'll be an absolutely cracking result for him. But Racer Brown showing his dominance, showing that he's still got it. That rust is clearing off, and the gap has increased. So Racer Brown is now in his stride. He's in his cool zone. He's in his chill mode. When he's in his chill mode, he is completely uninterval. And there we go. Pat has pulled in. He's had enough of those tyres. Go away, you lot, and let's have some fresh Michis on those. And it means he'll have a lot of catching up to do, but he'll probably have Bazza and Reno for company. Is he going to get out in front of these two? It's now a race for 8th, as Pat's just coming up to the entrance now, foot down. Is he going to get out? There goes Bazza. But where is Perchon in all this? And Perchon's behind him, so Pat has managed to slip into the small gap between Bazza and Reno. Oh, I thought it was Perchon, my apologies. So Pat has managed to squeeze himself between Bazza and Reno, and that's now a fight for 8th place, so that's going to be one that we're going to have to keep our eye on. Sorry Perchon, I thought you were further down than that. I do apologise. Oh, it's been a long day. It's been a long day, and I'm going to be up all night. So Racer Brown still holding off. Guesty still holding off a second. Still going to be a good result to him with 5 minutes left remaining. This could be how it ends, unless my curse kicks in once again. It's probably how it's all going to end. Big Dan still troubling him. He's not all that far behind him. That front left medium seen better days. And will he be able to hold on to 3rd, because he's got Homesick coming up behind him. 25.5 from Homesick in the last lap, and a 26.0. So Homesick is slightly faster than Big Dan. So that could go down to the wire unless Dan can look after his tyres and just nurse it home. Silverstar in 5th. This is going to be a good result for him. He's got no one in front of him. He's got barely anybody behind him. Only Perchon, and he's got Mrs. Guesty for company. She's having a look on the inside. She's managed to nurse them softs from start to 26 minutes. There's still a little bit of meat left on it, so she has done very well to look after those mediums. And is she going to take advantage of that coming up to the chicane, coming up at the end? Perchon just slips out in front of him. He's going wide. They're both trying to take the inside, but Mrs. Guesty's there, and so is Perchon. Not able to attack fully as she could, but can she get the better exit coming out in the corner? I think she does. Just having a look on the inside. Are they going to keep it through the fast right-hander? And yes, there we go. Beautifully done. Oh, Perchon goes wide a little bit. Mrs. Guesty takes advantage of that one, so she moves up into 6th. Big Bazza in 8th, and He's managed to just pull out a small gap between himself and Pat, but Pat's got the fresher tyre, but can he take advantage of it? We saw earlier in the first race when Renault and Perchon pitted for tyres at different times, and Renault was able to take advantage of it slightly better in the first race than Perchon did, but he did pit rather late, so can Pat take advantage of the fresher sauce as well? With Bazza, with the warm mediums in front of him, can he take advantage of the soft tyre? He did incredibly well at the start of the race, so who may be telling? Poor Renault, who's still appears to be an autopilot at the moment, so maybe he's just had enough, I'm not 100% sure. So, Racer Brown, just coming up to 2 minutes left, and it looks like he's got this one in the bag. No mistakes this time around, no mistakes from this alien. It looks like he's going to get his first win in the Renault Megane Trophy and really give him a boost up to his championship fight at the front. Guesty as well in second, firmly keeping his hand on the championship lead. So he's had a cracking round. He got second place in the first race. He's going to get second place in the second race as well. So this is going to help him out no end. Big Dan as well in third. This is going to be great for his championship battle. Third in the first race and a third in this race at the moment. And that's going to boost him up the championship order. It's going to be great for him. Homesick Alien in fourth. Won the first race. Now in fourth in the second. I'm quite sure how well that's going to do for his championship, but he's still going to get a good chunk of points out of end of this. We'll be hoping it'll probably give him a good boost towards his championship proposal for the win. And we'll have to wait and see. Silver Star as well in fifth. There's quite a gap between himself and Homesick in front. Perchon behind, so he has managed to drop Perchon, who's got Mrs. Guesty for company. He's managed to nurse them sauce all this long, and he's only used about half, so he's done incredibly well. Mrs. Guesty braking rather late, nearly went deep, and all those tyres are absolutely cut. So those tyres are gone, but considering we saw they had a bit of meat left on them not that long ago, she's done well to make them last this long. And there's a yellow flag. There's a yellow flag. Who's dropped? And it might be Silver Star. He's going slow into this corner. Has Silver Star lost it near enough at the end of the race? And is he able to hold on to fifth place? We'll have to keep an eye on that one later on, because 10 seconds before the flag drops, Pat Guesty and Pat go through. I don't think Reader is going to get through. I think he's got the mechanical issue fixed of whatever it was, so he's carrying on going. So it appears whatever had happened doesn't appear to be a problem anymore. But this race is about this man. The checkered flag has dropped. Racer Brown comes through the final corner to take his first win of the Megane Trophy. Well done, mate. Guesty coming home in second, an incredible round for him. 2 second places, well done, mate. And Big Dan, third place of this round. Well done, mate. Homesick Alien comes home in fourth. Cracking job. Now there's a bit of a gap between Silver Star. He is able to hold off Perchon, so he might be able to come home. Can he keep it in one piece to come home in fifth place? This will be a great result for him. Keep it together. There we go. Coming through, and there we go. And just coming over the line now. And yes, Silver Star holds off for fifth place. Well done, mate. Perchon comes home in sixth. Well done. Mrs. Guesty in seventh. Well done, love. Then we've got this fight for Bazza and Pat. This is for eighth place. We're going to pause it at the very last minute because Pat is going to be the last one to cross the line. And across they go. Whew. Well, what an absolute belter of a race. And I'm definitely feeling it now. Oh, I'm not going to, my throat's going to be hurting me in the morning. So, Racer Brown takes the, what on earth is that, really? I'm in the dark, I shouldn't be saying anything. So Racer Brown comes home in first, and there is the ensign of Hewitt. Hello, why hello, good sir. I hope you are well. Racer Brown comes home in first. It's his first place of the Renault Megane Trophy, so he'll be happy with that one to get him back into the fight of the championship. Guesty coming home a double second in this round. Can't fault him, really. The alien's really giving him a run for his money, but you know he's still going to be in the lead of the championship by the end of this after his strong start in round one. So I'm going to have to say that Guesty is going to be in the lead of the championship at the end of this. Big Dan, a double third for Big Dan as well. He is in the chat. Hello, Dan. Well done, mate. A double third. I always say it's rare to see, but when we see, we love it. Cracking job. Homesick Alien coming home in fourth. It's probably maybe not the result that he would like, but it's still a good haul of chunks, and he did win race one, so that's definitely going to put his championship back on track and taking the fight to Guesty. And I suspect Bunny, who isn't here, is going to drop, so I'm going to say that it's going to be Homesick Alien, Guesty, and Racer Brown now scrapping it out for the top spot of the podium, so he'll be happy with that one. Silver Star coming home in fifth and nearly dropped it on the previous lap. Excuse me. But still managed it to hold off fourth, fifth, so he's going to be happy with that one. Well done. Perchon come home in sixth. He nearly had the fifth, but he just didn't have the pace to catch up the Silver Star at the end of it. But he's still sixth at the end of the day, so he should be happy with that one. Mrs. Guesty in seventh. She was at the fight. She was fighting at the front at one point, but just a few more mistakes here and there, and she slowly dropped down the order. But it's still seventh at the end of the day again, love. So that's still going to be a good chunk of points for you. That's definitely going to boost your championship fight. Bazza coming home in eighth as well, all on his own for the majority of the race, but one by one he slowly started getting playmates and he managed to get himself back up to eighth. So it's not that bad of a result considering where you were at the start of the race. And poor Pat had a very, very strong start at the start of the race. He just wasn't able to hold it all together. The tyres went away from him. Unfortunately, he dropped all the way to ninth, but I'm pretty sure he'll still be happy with that one. As I always say, it's still points at the end of the day, and I won't say points get you prizes because they don't here because we're cheapskates, but it still gets you points at the end of the day for your championship, and we're not quite sure what happened with Rido. It must have been some form of technical issue because he had his blinkers on for a considerable amount of time, so I'm not sure if there was a technical issue on his behalf, but it's probably the result he was not looking for. But he's got round 3 to come back with a bang and get him back in the championship fight. And there we go. Wow. What a cracking set of races. What a day of racing we've had. We've been in the mud with the Subarus, and now we've had the Meganes in the dark. And it didn't turn out all that badly. So I think this has gone down pretty well. So, shall we leave it at that then? Because I don't think there's anybody out there in the land of the Tube of You. So, I think we shall leave it at that. So, hopefully next week, I say hopefully, I always say this because I never know what's going to happen, but hopefully next week I'll be able to bring you round 4 of the WRX Challenge, and hopefully round 3 of the Renault Meganes as well. So I'm rather hoping I can get that done next week and maybe not do it all in one day. But I needed to catch up a little bit, so that's my excuse. Well, right, if there is no one else, I shall leave you all to it. I was your commentator and broadcaster, insert comical name here, and I will see you all hopefully next week.